Hello friends, welcome back. We are back with some more pointless challenges, as you can see, and a very keen observer will look up at the top left to see what our duplicant count is, and it is at 99, and we are very close to getting our 100th duplicant, meaning that we can cross off the first pointless challenge from our list, which is taking literally every duplicant we've had on offer as soon as they are available until we reach 100, and then sustaining with that. So we're about to do the first part. The second part is sustaining. You can see the other challenges there, by the way, is only producing manual power and also producing every food type. So we will get to those. As far as only manual power, we are still on only manual power. We have not produced a drop of electricity. And yes, electricity comes in drops, for those of you who don't know. From any other source other than these duplicate legs that I'm sure are very tired and very bored of these jobs. But you know what? They were printed for a certain reason. That is just to produce power for me. Here we go. 15 seconds. We will complete our first objective. We'll turn it to a nice fancy green color just to make ourselves feel good about it. We'll let the game pause for us because we have our fancy mechanism, and there we go. Let's choose a blueprint, and let's take this guy. I'm immediately attracted to somebody like this, or somebody like this, only because they cannot do digging errands. I don't really care about that, especially this late in the game, because I have plenty of duplicants that will dig for me. Cannot do cooking errands, also kind of interesting. Let's just grab Max. Lee, you are going to be... I usually label these something special, but this is going to be pointless challenge. Pointless challenge Lee. Just because they got us to completing our first objective, so let's go ahead and grab Pointless Challenge Lee and print them. There we go. We are at 100s, which means that we can go ahead and do this. Make our duplicants checked off the list, at least the objective for it. And there we go. We're at 100. Now we need to find a way to sustain. Speaking of sustaining, let's talk about a couple of mistakes that I made. I have talked about this before, that this setup is not super great. Reason being that I grab hydrogen packets every once in a while into this system because it's not set up very efficiently. So I'm going to do some science and set up some more of these, and that's because we don't actually have enough of this. I calculated this incorrectly last time when I was talking about how many of these setups we're going to need. I felt like what we had already was overkill, but it's not. This is only half of what we need, roughly. So we need to make more of those setups, and we'll do that in this video. But the reason why I made that mistake is because we're still producing quite a bit of oxygen from this setup right here, and from this setup over here, which are not infinite. These are going to run out very soon. And I've also been very short on sand, so I could theoretically take more polluted water and dump it off here to keep working with that, but I just don't have that kind of water to go around. So we need to get our oxygen stabilized, and then the next thing is we are on a clock of soil here. This dirt, 420 tons, this will run out, and if that runs out, that means that all this food is not going to grow, which means we are dead. So we need to solve those two problems, probably in the order that I listed, before we can even think about advancing to any other stage of the game. So this is a corner I have never had to turn before, one that we have to basically keep 100 duplicants sustainable for the rest of the game. So we need to make sure we can actually do that or we will die. So let's solve the first problem right away. I will fix this setup later. I'm not going to do that in this video because it's a painful process to tear this all apart and kind of move everything up, which is where it needs to go. So if you take a look at this setup, notice how far down this is compared to these pumps and how far it is from merging in these packets. I'm going to take a look at this other side over here, which is performing a little bit better. There you notice there's an extra space here. It's a little bit closer to the points where the packets merge. I'm just going to try to condense this down as much as possible, and I'm going to try to optimize for two outcomes. And the one outcome I want is I don't want any hydrogen to go through any of these pipes. I want this to be all solid packets of oxygen. You can even see hydrogen coming in here. It's been sitting there for a little while, but you get the idea. Sometimes hydrogen goes in. There we go. We just got some too in these ones. So these are performing a little bit better, but it still happens occasionally. I do not want this to happen. So I want to find a better way to do this. And I want to find a better way to be more efficient about this. Because the other side is that if I jam this right up against the top, This will probably be blocked due to max gas pressure too often, and I don't want to do that either. So I want to find a healthy balance between this setup and something else. So let's try a new setup, just to kind of do some science and figure this out for ourselves. I know there are people out there that have optimized this before, and those people are probably screaming at their monitors at this very moment. If you listen closely, you can hear them. But we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way, and that's mostly because doing it the old-fashioned way is just more fun for me, of trying to figure out what the right solution is just by doing some basic trial and error, a little bit of experimentation, trying to go with that. So I'm going to try to set this up so that this is way up here, maybe sitting like right here, and there's a decent amount of space until it gets down to the bottom, just to see how much better that works out and see if I can keep these things producing. So let's go ahead and just build that. So the first thing I need is all the cooling area. So this is just going to be the cooling area that I normally set up. And these are set up in a very particular manner. You can see that it passes through this area full of cool liquid in order to cool off the stuff that I'm blowing out to my space, which, boo, hydrogen packets, boo, don't like you. So let's go ahead and just set something like that up so we know it's going to go this far over. So let's go ahead and do this. There we go. So it's 1, 2, on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 6. There we go. There we go. And there we go. The other part of the setup is I'm going to not do the ice solution that I have here. I think that's really impractical, especially where it's positioned on the map. I'm just going to do what I did with this one, which is using polluted oxygen, or polluted water. This is definitely not polluted oxygen. If you breathe that, you're probably going to die. And then you have an inlet right here in this vent. It's just on this automation so that it will keep this room as full as possible. And then it will get pumped out when it gets warm enough. So this is set up to anything over 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is a little bit colder than like a comfortable room temperature for most people. We'll turn on this pump and we'll just pump it out. I'm going to max this out, which I never did before. I should have done that already. But yeah, I'm going to just mimic this exact same setup over here. Oh, by the way, we're going to cut from this for just a sec. Let's go take a look at a couple of other things that have changed that I have not talked about yet. One of which is just unearthing this water geyser, which I do want to fix. I want it to have a little bit more surface area, but the whole point of this is I want to try to have the water geyser erupt in here to generate a little bit more water for me, because water is something that I don't want to worry about for the next little while, even though I'm increasing my oxygen production. So if I can start melting it out and get a huge like section of it that I can just pump in, that will be ideal. So I'm going to try getting something like that and probably just hook it up to the same line that runs up here. So I'm going to try to do that, but yeah, we have this area captured, or this cool slush geyser captured. We've had this one captured for a while. I do need to start getting onto my cool steam vent, so there's one there, and there is one up here as well. And I want to do all this just to make sure we're sustainable and that we don't die being distracted with something else. Another thing that's changed in the meantime is I have kind of reserved the space that I want for the space biome. And for my extra like colony that's going to be out here, which is going to be in this area, I have reserved the space just so I understand what I'm going to do, but this is just falling in priority as I think about it. I just need to solve other things right now that I was making the mistake of not calculating correctly. So we need oxygen now. It's going to start becoming a problem later, and we don't want to wait until it's a dire problem. We need to fix this earlier rather than later. Let's get the rest of these pipes set up real fast. Whoops, that was a mistake. If anybody's ever pretending like they're not making mistakes in this game, they are filthy liars. Everybody makes mistakes in this game when it comes to either building something incorrectly or not having the right focus or something like that. So if you are struggling with that as well, just know that everybody struggles with that. If they try to make it seem like they don't make mistakes, then they are definitely lying to themselves and you. Everybody makes mistakes, and it's totally fine. So yeah, don't be afraid to make mistakes in this game, and just know that no matter how long you play it, you're probably still going to make mistakes, especially when you're challenging yourself to do different things. So, not a big deal at all. Alright, so for this one, we still need the top setup to be roughly the same. I want something like this, but I want to also, if I'm going to have this like right up against here, I can't have the same ladders that I have in order to move around. So I'm just going to kind of build this in a little bit of a different way. It might be a little bit wonky, but we'll give it a try. So I want to... Uh-oh. Who's dying? Jean or Jean or whatever your name is. We do not have the capability of having people die because we have our 100 dupes and we are going to remain at 100 forever. So stop it. Don't want to dig. Yes. Okay, so same type of setup. Let's go ahead and start running some of these sections. We know we're going to need 2 spaces for the pump, so boop. And this is going to be 4 across. This top part is not going to change because there's no reason to change it. That one needs to be built that way so we get our filtration from the hydrogen kind of settling up here at the top. I'm just going to jam it up there and see how close I can get it and still have it be performant. The thing that I'm trying to trade off is I don't want hydrogen to go down here, but I also want it to merge with these packets up here as soon as possible. But I also want to keep this running as much as possible. You'll notice that even with the setups I have right now, you still hit these max gas pressure warnings every once in a while. So the actual output of this is not maximized. If you wanted to actually maximize this, you would just waste power, trying to make sure this is all vacuumed out as much as you can. So I kind of want to find the healthiest balance possible through some trial and error. So let's go ahead and just keep pushing forward on that effort. So if we want the pump to be here, we want it to merge pretty close. I don't want to have it like... What was that noise? That was a duplicant making some strange noises. I'm going to probably put them like right up here. Let's see how compact we can get this and see if that affects our performance drastically. So we're going to do something like this. 4 more spaces, which we always do, and I totally just did 5 because counting is hard. Something like this. Man, when you zoom in, all the sounds sound really different. I don't know if this is too close to the merging point. If it is, we'll just move it down 1 until we find that sweet spot. And then maybe I won't ever build it a different way again, but, you know, you never know. Like, especially with games that are around for this long, sometimes a little bit of a performance update or something like that can totally change your plans on how everything works. So just because something worked once doesn't mean it's always going to work. There we go. They can still get in and out of there. And we'll drop our ladders a little bit lower so that we can transfer from side to side. And then the actual pumps will probably still be chilling kind of down here. I'm going to have it roughly be the same size as it was before. So let's just try this out. We know we want one here and here. This ethanol is also really obnoxious. Don't really have a way to get rid of this or like put it anywhere convenient because it's not a substance I'm ever going to use in this game. Oh, speaking of which, it is getting kind of clogged up here. I need to drop a couple more tanks. Do I? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. The reason stuff like this will get clogged up, and this is not something I've really talked about before. I've talked about these liquid shutoffs and the gas or liquid pipe element sensors a couple times. These are very good, but they do have their problems. The problems are that if you ever have lines that are totally backed up, it is possible for the wrong things to go to the overflow area. This overflow area is really only designed to grab ethanol, but it can get overflowed if any of the other areas are clogged up, or if these ever lose power, and both of which have been subjected to in this run. So these solutions are not bulletproof, whereas a regular filter is bulletproof, but it wastes so much more power doing the same operation that I think this overflow and having to micromanage this is worthwhile. Get rid of these. But yeah, that's where a lot of the ethanol that has come through my piping system has eventually landed, just because there's not really many other places to put it. There we go. Alright, let's get the rest of our pipes, or rather our pumps up. We need our automation to flush this out when it's time. So thermosensor, I think about right here is good. And then our buffer gate. And some wires. There we go. We will need power for this. Unfortunately, we have the big power cables nearby, so I can just do the same thing I did here with these power transformers. Hook it up that way, so go ahead and drop a couple of those. And I don't want to block like a potential entrance point. I think later on, when I close this all up, and I'll potentially have a ladder going down there just to perform some maintenance if I need to, so I'll separate those two sides. Let's mop up the rest of this, just because it's bothering me. Don't want dupes to have wet feet. By the way, I don't know if anybody can explain this, but if you've ever seen the movie Forrest Gump, there's a lot of jokes about, and I don't know why they're jokes. Like, they seem like jokes, but I don't know why they're funny. But there's a lot of jokes in the part when he is in the Vietnam War about getting fresh changed pairs of socks. And I don't know what those jokes are about. Like, they're a thing? Like, they talk about it a few times, but I just don't get it. Like, maybe I'm just missing something, or maybe it was a product of the times, or maybe that was like one of the earliest forms of a meme. Like, I have no idea what that was all about. But they reference it a handful of times, and I just don't get it. What did I just push? I just pushed something bad. I pushed F, I think. There we go. By the way, it's a pretty weird button. F. Why would you need that for consumables? I would figure that would be like C or something like that. Oh, no. Alright, fine. Fine, gosh. Here I go, flooding myself again. Alright, I also need to make sure to get rid of this. What happened last time I set this up is there was a little bit of polluted water and it got stuck inside here. What I could do is I can always mop it up and then have it like fall down somewhere, but I think I'm just going to purposefully empty it. This is why digging into any of these areas with liquid is such a pain, because if you want to just power through it, which I usually do, you have to then have a lot of cleanup tasks afterwards. You could be a little bit more smart about it, and I'm just definitely not being smart about it right now. Cleanup crew, let's go! This is like in like kindergarten or something, when there's like a mess to do and you really excite all the kids to go help clean up the mess, and you're like, yeah, let's go do it. And you have like a whole bunch of little kids that are not very good at cleaning up the mess, but because you have a whole bunch of them, you kind of get it done. That's what this looks like. Except I can't hate on these duplicants too much. They're literally like having trouble breathing down here, and I'm like, do manual labor. Alright, let's set up a place for these things to get dumped. Sure. That's fine. And I think this is fine too. I'll just mark those for sweep for any of the stuff that we mark over here. Particularly for the polluted water. Oh, I don't need this anymore. I don't need to take duplicants. Haha! First time this game I've done that. Alright. Let's get rid of this notification system. It's because we want things to be printed. I don't want my attention to be taken away like that anymore. I have had enough. Alright, we've almost got this cleaned up. Getting kind of close. Now that we've got this, let's do a sweep only for any liquid that's marked for sweep. And same with you. Oh wait, we need a higher priority. There we go. And then, let's mark all this stuff for sweep so we can get out of here. Why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? Alright, we are making progress. Let's talk about, while they're making progress down here, I have a lot of things, well, kind of a lot of things queued up, but they'll clean that up. Let's talk about what the plan is for space, because I don't know exactly when this is going to come up, but this is the next thing we need to solve after we solve our oxygen problems. This is going to be our new food source area. This is going to be our area for shove voles. The idea here, at least as far as I have tested with something like this and trying to make the most efficient shove vole container I possibly can, is that if you put them on an area like this, they're not capable of jumping from one side to the other if there's this much space. I'm not 100% sure about that, so there may be an instant where we need to actually move this down and kind of finagle the room around a little bit more. But there is a certain degree in which they cannot jump from surface to surface if it's a certain distance. So I need to figure out what that is vertically. But in the very short amount of testing I've ran on this to try to produce something where only the shovels stay on this little circular area, I haven't seen them do it. So if I'm wrong, then this room will change. But that's going to be the idea for shovels. There's going to be a little mini colony just living up here, minding their own business and taking care of the things that we need here. I'm not going to have any fancy regolith clearing because that's either going to take a lot of power or it's going to take a lot of... or it's going to delete the regolith, and I don't want either of those. So these guys up here are going to do two things. Job-wise, they're either going to care for the shovels or they're going to be clearing regolith, and that's all they're going to do. So probably going to keep maybe like 7 to 9 of them up here, something like that. And they're just going to stay up there. They're never going to leave this area. I'm going to put a door like right here so that they cannot leave. And I may even make it so that people can't actually go out there, so that this area is totally marooned from the rest of the map. So we'll figure that out. Alright, how you guys doing? What's going on here, guys? Oh, I don't want you to be sweeping all that. I guess there are boxes for it, but I don't want you to do that. Let me find out where they're actually taking this stuff. Where are you guys going? Game takes forever to load when you have 100 duplicants in the whole map. Alright. Hut, 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 hut. Where are they going? Alright, I don't know what they're doing. This will eventually get cleared out. I might as well just take all the supplies out of here anyway, so let's go ahead and make them do that too. Just so they take it to a shorter travel distance. And then hopefully they're emptying them over here as well. Yeah, there we go. Taking such strange routes. Can they not get over here? Oh, they can't. I'm a fool. What can I build here? Oh, the thimble reed. Alright, once these storage bins get created, we can just have them run it here instead of all the way across the map. So it'll be a little bit more efficient. Still do get those starvation warnings every once in a while, which is really obnoxious because they're not actually starving. They're just doing something else. Which makes me sound like a really nice guy. You're not starving, you're just doing something else. Need to also make sure I didn't wire this incorrectly like I did the last time with all of my pipes not existing to take the materials out. I hate having to open this back up and redo this so many times, so let's try to do it right the first time. Although there's a high likelihood I will have to reopen this because I don't know if I'm actually going to be doing this correctly. Or not correctly, but like more optimally than what I've done in the past. So we're doing some live sciencing. Yes, that's the technical term for it. There we go. Sweep only, all, give me everything. Copy, there we go. Now we should clear this out a little bit faster. Let's mop all this stuff up too. Just because it's messy and I don't like it. Okay, who's dying? Stop suffocating, you cowards. Alright, getting pretty close to clearing this out. This will be interesting if I could build this whole setup in one video. I'm not holding my breath, and no pun intended, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Let's get our pressure sensors here. We still want those. Actually, I wonder if these could be at a better position. Because it's like kind of in a corner. Let's see if that matters at all. Yeah, like I've said, and I feel like a lot of people don't like this. And that's fine, you don't have to like it. But I feel like a lot of people don't like the idea of spending time trying to find a solution that might have already been solved. This is just me speculating. There's obviously no real backing behind that, but I feel like a lot of times when I mention things like this or make videos like this where I'm kind of just doing some trial and error on something that may have already been solved, I feel like a lot of people don't really like that, which is interesting to me because the process of finding what's good, I think, can be very rewarding, and sometimes more rewarding than just copying what's already there. But some people like it the other way, so I'm not going to recommend to do one or the other. I think you should do whatever you think is more fun, but I always thought that was weird. Only because I feel like the same type of people who are just trying to find their own solutions because they enjoy it aren't saying things like, well, you're just copying somebody else. Isn't that really boring? It's like, oh, if you want to do it that way, sure, go ahead. Can't we all just get along, people? Probably also making up a lot of this rhetoric in my head, if we're being fair. Okay, we are getting close to clearing this out. We need more duplicants to help us. Lots of people mopping for whatever reason. Who told them to do that? I have no idea. Then we'll run our wires down for power. Here we go. Make sure we're still going to actually have enough. Whoa, not that far. Alright, is this... I know that this works. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that consumes 1,000. 5, 6, 7. We have a little more to play with here, which means that this side's going to be fine. Okay, yeah, we should have enough. Game takes forever to load. There we go. The interesting thing about those hitches is I used to think that a lot of it was a lot of duplicants having to all make decisions at the same time, but I have them all on rotating schedules, so maybe that's not as true as I first thought it was, as far as performance. Apparently there must be a lot of things that need to be checked when the day rolls over, regardless of how many dupes you have, because when they wake up, like, there are dupes waking up all times of the day, so when they wake up, there's not like a disproportionate amount of them. Well, there is, by just a handful, but it's not, like, significant enough to the point that I would figure there would be this big of hitches throughout the day anyway. So that's interesting. I wonder what it actually is. Let's assign these guys schedules. And Pointless Challenge League gets default 3. Definitely need to set these up. There we go. Getting everything all automated, as it should be. Speaking of automated, I need some opinions. What do you think about self-driving cars? And I only ask because I feel like there's a lot of conflicting opinions on this, and I feel like the opinion I have is not what I would actually do, which sounds pretty weird, but the reason I say that is because I think in general humans are really bad at driving, and the only way that you could really solve that in general, just because humans inherently have disadvantages, is by having an AI that drives, right? But the thing is, like, if I were to have a self-driving car, I don't think I would be comfortable with it right now. So it's almost like I'm saying, yes, we should have self-driving cars and we should trust them, but at the same time being like, well, I'm not going to trust them. So I feel like I have a really weird fear about that. Or something that needs to be resolved, but I don't know what to think about that. So if you have any opinions on that, definitely let me know. Alright, we are hitting time. So we'll call that good for now. We have completed one of our objectives, so definitely something to be happy about. So we've got that done. Next corner we need to turn is all of our oxygen, so I'd assume by the next video this should all be done. All this extra oxygen area. We'll have a verdict on which one is more performant, and if I need to make any sort of like bug fixes to this area. The answer to that is going to be probably. I have to imagine that we could try moving this down one just in case. Or I could try moving this one up to where that position would have been otherwise and see how that works. So we will have some fancy oxygen production data here by the next video. Some other things we're going to check out. I'm going to check out what it's going to take to get all this area up because I want to have people living out here before I'm ranching. Because I don't want to have dupes that take the entire distance to cover before they need to go ranching. And ranching a lot of these shovels is going to take a lot of work. So this is the next area we need to get set up. I think the next time I will check back will be when this area is mostly up and running and when this area is getting started. So hopefully that shouldn't be too long. I'm going to guess maybe 30 cycles just because of how fast these duplicants can get stuff done. But yeah, that's my plan. And that's going to be the next video for this series. As far as other stuff that's going on in Oxygen Not Included on my channel, I am running through the new DLC, so check out those videos. Just kind of an uninformed view on it for the first time and kind of checking stuff out and solving new problems and being surprised by some new stuff that's in the game. So got a whole series about that. And I'm also going to be doing some more tutorial series which seem to be the most popular ones. So if you're looking out for anything related to ranching, that's going to be my next one that's going to be coming very soon. So check those out. I'll be back with more videos really shortly, and thanks for watching in the meantime. Have a good day. I'll see you soon.